Did you know that the average person lies awake for almost 15 minutes every single night just trying to fall asleep, and most of them are making it worse without realizing it? A glass of wine to wind down, a late night phone scroll under the blanket, a cup of sleepy time tea that has almost nothing in it that actually promotes sleep. Meanwhile, there are foods with real clinical trial data behind them that most people have never connected to their sleep at all. Today we're counting down 9 foods backed by real research that could start improving your sleep tonight, ranked from good to absolutely essential. Number 1 has multiple controlled studies behind it, including one where older adults slept an extra 84 minutes a night. Let's get into it. Number 9. Chamomile tea. Chamomile tea has been a bedtime ritual for generations, mostly passed down as tradition rather than backed by anyone explaining why it actually works. Here's the mechanism. Chamomile contains a compound called apigenin, which binds to specific receptors in your brain, the same type of receptors targeted by anti-anxiety medications, just far more mildly. That binding has a gentle, calming, sedative-like effect that can make it easier to wind down before bed. It's not going to knock you out the way a sleep medication would, and it shouldn't. It's a nudge, not a switch. A box of tea bags costs a few dollars and lasts weeks. Steep it for a full 5 minutes, not the quick 30-second dunk most people do. The calming compounds need time to actually extract into the water. A gentle, well-understood ritual that turns out to have real chemistry behind the calm. And if chamomile surprised you, wait until you hear what number 8 does that almost no other snack can match. Number 8. Walnuts. Walnuts are one of the only foods that naturally contain measurable amounts of melatonin, the same hormone your own brain produces to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. They're also rich in alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fat that your body can partially convert into compounds that support healthy sleep patterns over time, alongside a solid dose of magnesium, a mineral involved in calming the nervous system before bed. To be clear, the melatonin content in a handful of walnuts is small compared to a supplement pill. This isn't a replacement for melatonin tablets if you have a real sleep disorder, but as a small evening habit stacked with everything else on this list, it adds up. A bag costs a few dollars and keeps for weeks in the pantry. A small handful an hour or two before bed is plenty. Walnuts are calorie dense, so this is a food where more isn't better. A snack that's quietly doing double duty most people have never thought to look for, and if walnuts surprised you, number 7 is the drink your grandparents swore by, and it turns out they weren't entirely wrong. Number 7. Warm milk. Warm milk before bed gets dismissed as an old wives' tale, mostly because the effect is genuinely mild. But mild isn't the same as fake. Milk contains tryptophan, an amino acid your body uses as a building block to produce serotonin and eventually melatonin. On its own, the tryptophan in a glass of milk is a small amount, but the ritual of warmth combined with a small metabolic nudge toward those calming compounds is a real, if modest, combination. There's also a psychological piece that's easy to dismiss, but shouldn't be. A consistent bedtime ritual, the same warm drink, the same time, night after night, helps signal to your brain that sleep is coming, the same way a dimming light does. A glass costs pennies and takes about 90 seconds to warm. Skip the sugar or chocolate mix-ins. Those spike your blood sugar right before bed, which works directly against everything you're trying to do here. Simple, cheap, and part chemistry, part psychology working together. And if warm milk surprised you, number 6 is the dinner staple most people eat without ever thinking about how it affects the hours after the meal and air. Number 6. Jasmine Rice. Not all carbohydrates affect your sleep the same way, and this is where jasmine rice earns a specific spot on this list. Jasmine rice has a notably high glycemic index compared to most other rice varieties, meaning it raises your blood sugar relatively quickly. Research has found that a higher glycemic meal eaten several hours before bed, not right before, but earlier in the evening, was associated with people falling asleep faster than after eating lower glycemic meals. The theory is that the insulin response to a higher glycemic meal may help increase the availability of tryptophan to the brain, feeding into the same serotonin and melatonin pathway as the tryptophan in warm milk. A bag costs a few dollars and lasts a long time in the pantry. The timing matters here more than almost anything else on this list. This works best as part of dinner, 3 to 4 hours before bed, not as a midnight snack. An ordinary dinner staple with a surprisingly specific role in how fast you actually fall asleep. And if that changed how you think about rice, number 5 is the leafy green sitting in your fridge that's about to look a lot more useful before bed. Number 5. Spinach. Spinach is one of the richest whole food sources of magnesium, and magnesium plays a direct role in regulating the neurotransmitters responsible for calming your nervous system down at the end of the day. Low magnesium levels have specifically been associated with poor sleep quality and more nighttime waking. It's one of those minerals that's quietly involved in hundreds of processes in your body, sleep regulation being one of the less talked about ones. Spinach also contains folate and potassium, both of which play smaller supporting roles in healthy nervous system function. A bag costs a couple of dollars and lasts about a week in the fridge. Saute it lightly with dinner, or blend a handful into a smoothie earlier in the day. Cooking it down slightly makes the magnesium more available than eating it raw in large amounts. An ordinary green doing quiet mineral work that most people never connect back to how they slept that night. And if spinach surprised you, number 4 is the sweetener sitting in your pantry that works completely differently than you'd expect. Number 4. Honey. A small spoonful of honey before bed sounds like it should work against you, not for you. The mechanism says otherwise. Honey provides a small, steady release of glucose that helps maintain your liver's glycogen stores overnight. Some sleep researchers propose that when those glycogen stores run low during the night, your body can release stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline as a backup fuel signal, and that spike can be enough to wake you up or fragment your sleep in the early morning hours. A small amount of honey before bed may help prevent that overnight dip, keeping your fuel stores steadier through the night. To be clear, this is about a teaspoon, not a spoonful drizzled over dessert. More sugar before bed works against you, not for you. A jar costs a few dollars and lasts months. Stir it into chamomile tea from number 9, and you've stacked 2 items on this list into one evening ritual. A small amount of something sweet working through your liver rather than your taste buds. And if honey surprised you, number 3 is the nut everyone already snacks on, just usually at the wrong time of day. Number 3. Almonds. Almonds carry a combination that's hard to find in one food: magnesium, a small amount of melatonin, and healthy fats that help slow digestion, so those compounds are absorbed more steadily overnight. The magnesium content is the real star here. A small handful of almonds provides a meaningful percentage of your daily magnesium needs, and as covered with spinach, magnesium is directly tied to how well your nervous system winds down at night. Unlike a lot of nuts that get eaten mindlessly in large amounts, almonds are calorie dense enough that portion actually matters for this to work as a sleep habit rather than just a snack. A bag costs a few dollars and lasts weeks. A small handful, about a dozen almonds, an hour before bed is the target, not a whole bowl in front of the TV. A snack most people already reach for, just rarely at the specific time that would actually help. Which brings us to number 2. The fruit, with an actual clinical study behind it, run at a university sleep lab. Number 2, Kiwi Fruit. In a study published by researchers at Taipei Medical University, 24 adults with self-reported sleep problems ate 2 kiwi fruits 1 hour before bed every night for 4 weeks. The results were measured using both a validated sleep questionnaire and an actigraph, a wearable device that objectively tracks sleep activity, not just self-report. By the end of the 4 weeks, participants fell asleep significantly faster, their total sleep time increased, and their sleep efficiency, the percentage of time in bed actually spent asleep, improved as well. Researchers point to kiwi's combination of antioxidants and natural serotonin content as the likely mechanism, working through a similar pathway to several other foods on this list, but with the added benefit of actual measured results in people who specifically struggled with sleep to begin with. A kiwi costs about 50 cents to $1 and needs zero preparation beyond cutting it in half. 2 kiwis about an hour before bed. That's the exact protocol used in the study, so there's no guessing involved here. A small green fruit with one of the more concrete pieces of sleep research on this entire list. And that brings us to number 1, the food with multiple clinical trials behind it, including one where older adults with real insomnia slept an extra 84 minutes a night. Number 1. Tart cherry juice. Tart cherries, specifically the Montmorency variety, contain naturally occurring melatonin, genuinely more than almost any other fruit. A 2018 pilot study conducted at Louisiana State University gave older adults with diagnosed insomnia 8 ounces of Montmorency tart cherry juice twice a day for 2 weeks. Using overnight polysomnography, the gold standard lab-grade way to measure sleep, participants slept an average of 84 minutes longer per night, with measurably improved sleep efficiency. A separate earlier trial in healthy adults found that a week of Tart cherry juice concentrate increased urinary melatonin levels and improved total sleep time and sleep efficiency compared to a placebo using wearable actigraphy to track it. To be fully honest with you, not every study on Tart cherry juice has shown a dramatic effect. A few smaller trials in healthy young adults found more modest or mixed results. The strongest, most consistent effects show up specifically in older adults and people with diagnosed sleep problems, not necessarily in someone who already sleeps fine. An 8-ounce bottle of Tart cherry juice concentrate costs around $10 to $15 and lasts several weeks at the studied dose. Look for 100% Tart cherry juice concentrate, not a cherry-flavored drink loaded with added sugar. That's a completely different product nutritionally. The single most clinically tested food on this entire list, and one of the few with lab-measured results behind it, not just a questionnaire. Here's the pattern across this entire list. None of these foods work like a sleeping pill. There's no single food that guarantees a perfect night, and anyone promising that is overselling it. What actually works is what these 9 foods have in common. They support the same handful of pathways: melatonin, magnesium, and steady blood sugar, night after night, building towards something that actually holds up. If sleep problems are a regular, ongoing struggle for you, rather than an occasional bad night, these foods are a genuine complement to good sleep habits, not a replacement for talking to a doctor about it. Which one on this list are you trying tonight? Drop it in the comments. I read every one, and if you want the full breakdown of what not to eat before bed, the next video walks through exactly that.